Good morning, students. This is Anjali, Assistant Professor, Department of CSE, AIML, IARE, Hyderabad. Today's our topic name is Simpson's Paradox. In previous class, we have seen that correlation versus causation. Correlation, that means it was showing that relation between two or more variable. For example, we have variable A and variable B. That means it will show the relation between the A and B. Then correlation there are three types: positive correlation, negative correlation, and no correlation. In positive correlation, both variable will move in the same direction. In negative correlation, your variable will move in opposite direction. And here, in no correlation, there will be no relation between variable A and B. That means, for example, in positive correlation, if your A variable increase, then definitely B also will be increase. If in negative correlation, if your A will be increase, then B will be decrease. And in no correlation, in A and B, there is no relation. That means whatever is happening with variable A and variable B, it will not affect on each other. And now we will see the causation. That means it is showing that the cause and the effect. And in cause and effect, there are also we are checking that how it is affecting each other. How it is affecting each other. That means here also we are using the variables, and these variables will affect on each other. That means what is the cause of the affecting on variable A or variable B? So here we will see the causes of the conditions. Now we will start our main topic. In this topic, we will cover introduction, history, detailing of the Simpson's paradox, association paradoxes, Simpson's paradox in the statistics, and the drawbacks of the Simpson's paradox. First one is introduction. Actually, a paradox is a statement or phenomenon that on the surface seems contradictory. This paradox are some statement or some phenomenon which are which are available on the surface. The paradoxes help to reveal the underlying truth beneath the surface of what appears to be absurd. In the field of the statistics, Simpson's paradox demonstrate what kind of problems result from combining data from several groups. That means it's showing that Simpson's paradox is showing that what kinds of problems result to combining data from the several groups. And with all data, we need to exercise the caution. Where did it come from? How was it obtained? And what is it really saying? These all are good questions which we can ask when presented with the data. And it's very surprising that Simpson's paradox shows that sometimes what the data seem to be saying is not really the case. So here we will see history of the Simpson's paradox. The Simpson's paradox was introduced very early by different statisticians. Firstly, in 1899, Carl Pearson, a great statistician, described a similar effect in his research. Actually, in 1899, Carl Pearson described some effects in his research, and in 1903, Uday Yule also gave proof of similar effect with the association of the different variables. Actually, Edward Simpson in 1951, this technical paper described the effect of Simpson's paradox, and due to this great statistician, Simpson's paradox got its name. The Simpson's paradox is also known as Euler-Simpson's effect, Simpson's reversal paradox, or the amalgamation paradox. Simpson's paradox is a probability and statistical situation that gives the different results when data is disaggregated and the result from the same group, small groups, disappear or reverses when groups are aggregated. The Simpson's paradox is also known as Euler-Simpson's effect, Simpson's reversal paradox, and amalgamation paradox. This main definition of the Simpson's paradox is probability and statistical situation which gives the some results when data is disaggregated and results from the small groups disappear or reverses when groups are aggregated. Now, Simpson's paradox. Actually, Simpson's paradox is a statistical phenomenon where an association between the two variables in population emergencies disappears or reverses when the population is divided into subpopulation. Actually, the Simpson's paradox is working with the association between two variables. They can emerge the population, they can disappear, reverse when the population is divided into the subpopulation. And for this instance, generally two variables may be positively associated in the population, but we can say they should be independent or even negatively associated in all subpopulation. The cases exhibited the paradox are unproblematic from the perspective of the mathematics and probability theory, but they nevertheless strike many people as a surprising. Additionally, the paradox has implications for range of the areas that rely on probabilities and including the decision theory, then causal inferences and evolutionary biology. That means if you are working with the Simpson's paradox, definitely can work with the population. That means we will divide the population into the subpopulation, we will emerge the population, we will disappear and reverse also population. So here, we will work with the population and the subpopulation. And finally, there are many instances of the paradox, including the epidemiology and studies of the discrimination, where we can understand the paradox is very essential for drawing the correct conclusion. If you want to reach your correct conclusion, then we have to understand the paradox it's a very essential, and a trend or result that is present when the data is put into groups, reverses or disappears when the data is combined. For example, one of the most famous example of the Simpson's paradox is UC Berkeley's suspected gender bias. At the beginning of the academic year in 1973, UC Berkeley's graduate school had admitted roughly 44% of their male applicants and 35% of their female applicants. And the story usually goes that school was sued for gender discrimination, although this is not actually true. The school did, however, fear a lawsuit, and so they had a statistician, Peter Bickel, look at the data. Now, what they found is surprise. There was a statistically significant gender bias in favor of women for 4 out of the 6 departments, and no significant gender bias in the remaining 2. And the Bickel's team discovered that women tended to apply to departments that admitted a smaller percentage of the applicants overall, and that this hidden variable affected the marginal values for the percentage of accepted applicants in such a way that as to reverse the trend that existed in the data as a whole. Essentially, the conclusion flipped when the Bickel's team changed their data viewpoint to account for the school being divided into departments. Now this is your visual example. The overall trend reverses when data is grouped by some color represented category. Now Simpson's paradox can make decision making hard, but we can scrutinize and regroup, resample our data as much as we are able to. But if different conclusion can be drawn from all different categorization, then we can choose the grouping to draw our conclusion from order to gain insight and develop strategies. Is a nuanced and difficult problem. But we need to know that what we are looking for and to choose the best data viewpoint, giving a fair representation of the truth. Consider there are three random variables x, y and z. Now we are defining a 2 by 2 by k cross classification table by using xy can be coded either 0 or 1 and z can be assigned values from 1 to k. The marginal association between x and y is assessed by collapsing across or aggregating over the levels of the z. The partial association between x and y controlling for z is the association between x and y each level of z or after adjusting the level of the z. Generally, Simpson's paradox is said to have occurred when the pattern of the marginal association, the pattern of the partial association is different. So that means we can say that your Simpson's paradox can occur only when your marginal association and partial association will differ. Generally, various indices exist for assessing the association between the two variables and for categorical variables, the odds ratio and the relative risk ratio are the two most common measures of the association, and the Simpson's paradox is the name applied to differences in the association between two categorical variables regardless of how that the association is measured. Now, association paradoxes. The association paradoxes of which Simpson's paradox is special case can occur between the continuous, a variable that can take any value, or categorical variable, with a variable that can take only certain values. For example, best known measure of association between two continuous variables is correlation coefficient. And it is well known that marginal correlation between two variables can have one sign, whereas the partial correlation between the same two variables after controlling for one or more additional variable has the opposite sign. The reversal paradoxes in which marginal and partial associations between two variables have different signs. That means, see here we have already seen that if you have marginal correlation between the two variables, then they will be same sign, and if partial correlation, then there will be the different sign. But reversal paradoxes also is showing the marginal and partial association between two variables have different sign, such as Simpson's paradox are the most dramatic of the association paradoxes. A weaker form of association paradox occurs when the marginal and partial association have the same sign. But the magnitude of marginal association falls outside of the range of the values of the partial association computed the individual levels of the variable being controlled. And these have been termed amalgamation or aggregation paradoxes. Now, avoiding the Simpson's paradox. Although it might be very easy to explain why Simpson's paradox occur when presented with the examples, determining when the Simpson's paradox will occur is more challenging. Actually, if you are doing some experiments, then individuals are randomly assigned to the treatment conditions. And Simpson's paradox should not occur. No matter what additional variable you are including in your analysis. And this assume of the course that randomization is very effective, that assignment to the treatment condition is independent of the possible covariates. And if so, regardless of whether these covariates are related to the outcome, then Simpson's paradox cannot occur. And if you are not doing any experiments, that means we can say if in it's non-experimental, non-randomized research, then definitely a cross-sectional study in which a sample will be selected. And then the members of the sample are simultaneously classified with respect to all the study variables. Simpson's paradox can be avoided if some conditions are satisfied. And the problem with the non-experimental research is that the condition will rarely be known to be satisfied a priori. Now we will take one of the example to make a little more sense Simpson's paradox. Let's look at the following example. First one is, in certain hospital there are two surgeons. Surgeon A operates 100 patients and 95 survive. And surgeon B operates on 80 patients and 72 survive. Now they are considering having surgery performed in this hospital and living through the operation is something that is important. Now we want to choose the better of the two surgeons. There are surgeon A and surgeon B. Surgeon have 100 patients, surgeon B have 80 patients. But from 100 patients, 95 patients are surviving, and from 80 patients, 72 patients are surviving. Now we have to choose which surgeon is better as compared to they. Now we look at the data and use it to calculate what percentage of the surgeon A's patients survived their operations and compare it to survival rate of the patients of the surgeon B. 95 patients out of the 100 survived with surgeon A, that means it is a 95%. And 72 patients out of 80 survived with surgeon B, so that means there are 90% of them survive. From this analysis, we understand that if we did some further research into the data and found that originally the hospital had considered two different types of the surgeries, but then lumped all of the data together to report on its surgeon. Not all surgeries are equal. Some were considered high risk emergency surgery while others were more routine in nature that had been scheduled in the advance. Some surgeries are the high risk surgeries and some checkup, that means some we can say that there are routine checkup. Of the 100 patients that surgery treated, 50 were high risk and 3 died. The other 50 were considered routine and of these 2 died. This means that for routine surgery, patient treated surgeon A has a 96% survival rate. And now we look more carefully surgeon B and find that 80 patients (40) were high risk, of which 7 died. The other 40 were routine and only 1 died. This means that patient has a 39 out of the 40. That means we can say 97.5% survival rate for a routine surgery with the surgeon B. Now, which surgeon is better? If your surgery is to be routine one, then the surgeon B is actually better surgeon. And if you look at the surgeries performed by the surgeon, then A is a better. That means this is quite counterintuitive. In this case, lurking variable of the type of the surgery affects combined data of the surgeon. Now, why does Simpson's paradox happen? Generally, Simpson's paradox happens because of the only disaggregation of the data. That means we can split our data into the subgroup When we are splitting our data into subgroup, at that time we will get the disaggregation, and it causes the certain subgroup to have imbalanced presentation compared to other subgroup. This might be due to the relationship between the variable or simply due to the way that the data has been partitioned into the subgroups. Now, Simpson's paradox in the statistics. The Simpson's paradox is statistical phenomenon in which a trend shows various sets of the data but vanishes or reverses when these groups are the joined. And generally in statistics, Simpson's paradox is also known as the Euler-Simpson's effect, and it will occur when the marginal association between two categorical variables differs qualitative from the partial association between the same two variables after adjusting for one or more other factors. And when generating the averages or pooling data from the diverse sectors, you must use extreme caution. Depending upon the set of the specific variables that are being controlled, the relationship between two variables may technically increase or decrease or even change direction. Now, it's always good idea to double check whether the pool data tells same story as non-aggregated data or tell different one. Actually, this Simpson's paradox will belong to larger category of association paradoxes, and if the story is different, that means there is good chance to run across the Simpson's paradox. And if there are many, maybe somehow uncontrolled and even unseen variable that negate or reverse the reported relationship between the two variables, as well as the orientation of the explanatory and the target variable must be influenced by the lurking variable. And what now we will see the what effect does Simpson's paradox have on the data analytics. Actually, you know that the Simpson's paradox demonstrates importance of understanding the data and its limitation. And analytics project, it will provide us some circumstances in which data tell us an entirely different tell that what we believe. Work progress towards data set obtained extremely that short period of the time, and it reminds us significance of the critical thinking and looking for hidden biases and variables in the data. Actually, your Simpson's paradox may exist if your data is not stratified deeply enough. And now, taking a closer look at the facts in such cases, you can teach something new, and even if variation is small, too much aggregation makes irrelevant and leads to bias. Why are we concentrating on the Simpson's paradox now? Actually, Simpson's paradox demonstrate, it will explain that how without appropriate insight and subject understanding, even simple statistical analysis can mislead and encourage the erroneous conclusion. And if we disaggregate too much, there will be insufficient data science or knowledge to uncover the underlying pattern. We are attempting to spot trends and make judgments in very short amount of the time in the age of the real-time data analytics. That means we are making some judgments on the basis of the data by using the data analytics, and the variance has gone up but the bias has gone down. Now, shorter time periods are certainly more likely to produce the short-term misdirection which can obscure the true overall trend. This could lead to erroneous conclusion and action. As a result, the Simpson's paradox is the apex of the bias and variance trade-off. Now, we will see what is meant by lurking variable. Actually, it is a hidden variable in that the help you to identify the truth or mold the data as per your requirement. Lurking variable is a hidden variable. By using the hidden variable, we can identify the truth, we can mold our data, we can change our data according to our requirement, and it is very challenging to identify the lurking variable. If data scientists closely examine the data, they can define it, and they can use it to reach the conclusion. For example, To understand the meaning of the lurking variable in Simpson's paradox. A soft drink company wants to launch two new soft drink flavors. One is a mango and the another one is a pineapple. The audience tested both flavors and voted. Now we got here result that 75% of people like the mango flavor and the 60% of the people like the strawberry flavor. And from the result, mango flavored soft drink is a winner. But the company is still looking for the result. That means here, data mining team will recheck the data. It will identify the gender, can be deciding variable to get interested user of both soft drinks. And in the above example, the male and the female are lurking variable. That's why now we got the male and female are the lurking variable, giving a result to the data. It was easy to identify the lurking variable of Simpson's paradox in the above situation, but it can be challenging. What happened here? First, we have checked the flavors of the soft drinks, and then people voted for those two soft drinks. Now, mango flavored soft drink won, and in general, but still the company is looking for the voting, looking for the data, looking for the result. But after that, company decided that we can check as a male and female according to gender. They will check. So here we got the two lurking variables that are the male and the female. Now there are some drawback of the Simpson's paradox. The Simpson's paradox does not result in one solid conclusion. You can interpret data as much as you can using different variable and viewpoints. It becomes difficult to conclude with complete data meaning. Generally, the Simpson's paradox does not result in one solid conclusion, and you can interpret data as much as you can using different variable. It becomes difficult to conclude with complete the meaning. Using a data set, one can draw different conclusions that become challenging for the strategy preparation. But one can positively use Simpson's paradox by examining which conclusion you need to use to reach your final destination and reveal the truth. So this is all about the Simpson's paradox. In Simpson's paradox, it is very simple thing. In Simpson's paradox, we have to check some data whether it is giving a correct conclusion or not. And if we got the correct conclusion, then okay. Still we have to check for the result. Then we can wait for that particular result, and we can generate some lurking variable, and on the basis of the lurking variable, we can find out the result. So it is a very helpful to find out the result by using the Simpson's paradox. So this is all about the Simpson's paradox. These are some references. You can go through these references. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.